We're excited to share today a service called Alix, A-L-I-X, or meetalix.com, which is a state settlement making it easier with their service. I kind of found them by researching good friend, if you follow my channel at all, Michael Zwick, who does air research, and came across the founder of Alix, or one of the key players, I guess. She'll tell us her position, Karen Stiles. Karen, thank you for joining us today.
Sure. Hi.
Well, what is Alix? I know to some degree it's kind of a tool for families or administrators of estates. Where do you fit into that puzzle? You're not an attorney, but you help the administrator through the process?
Yeah, so Alix is there to really to guide the person handling the estate through the estate process. There are so many things that go into it, and most people do it one time in their life, whether it's for their parent or for a family friend or a sibling. It's normally only one or two times in their life. And so, it's just this huge gray area that's most people do by trial and error. And it takes people hundreds and hundreds of hours to do. And so Alix's goal is to just make it more efficient for them and easier. It's not only is somebody going through mourning the loss of a loved one, and also, dealing with family members and sometimes complicated relationships, sometimes, financial burdens, and then they're tasked with being the administrator or the executor or the trustee of an estate. And they're like, what the heck do I do? And so Alix, they don't act as the trustee or the executor or the administrator, but they're really there to hold that person's hand and give them the right tools, the right directions, and just the right guidance on what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and take a lot of that work off their plate. These people that we're talking about that are doing this, they are, let's say it's a typical family that mom or dad passed away and they're in their 50s or so. They're working, they have kids. When are they going to fit the time into administering this estate? I don't have time to do that after, working. So Alix's goal is to take a lot of those hours off of their plate and do it for them. So it's kind of like a concierge service while also just making it more efficient, guiding them to do it correctly too.
Yeah, and I think, as a probate real estate agent who gets involved with these things, and there are people do it on their own, and it's not that you can't do it on your own, it's just going to take you longer. And one example is a death certificate. So many times I have customers who get a death certificate that doesn't have social security number because that's easy to get online for cheap, but that won't work for the problems that we're trying to solve as far as the probate court.
Right.
And so knowing up front how to get documents from counties and how to record them,
right.
What to do when you find the will. So what are the steps or what are the typical procedures that you take off the plate from the fiduciary or the administrator when you're assisting them?
I mean, honestly, it's everything. So really, it depends when they contact us. So what we've been finding recently is, I think a lot of people don't understand, and it's hard to even describe to people, what all comes with our service, because most people call and say, okay, yeah, mom and dad have a house and they have a bank account. Okay, great. So what we do with that is we're going to help you clean out the house. We're going to help you sell it. We're going to help you marshal the bank account. Well, what they don't tell you is that mom and dad also have guns in the house, and they have life insurance policies, and they have unclaimed property, and you just never know what is involved in an estate. So there's never any time where we can tell you exactly what all we're going to do for you. And so I think a lot of people, they often kind of try to do it themselves first, and they attempt it, they kind of spin around in circles, and then they give up, and then they come back to us. That's really common. Yeah. They're like, okay, now I get it. Now your fee really, really feels worth it, because they've given it a shot. So it kind of depends on what stage of the process people contact you in. But in a general estate. Things that we do take off the plate is, death certificates. Most of the time, the funeral homes do handle that for you. Sometimes that goes wrong. We can help fix it. We most of the time do all the correspondence with any of the banks, financial advisors, even CPAs, any professionals that are in place. We communicate with them, and we essentially act as the administrator with communications and steps and processes. But the trustee or executor, they're the ones signing and approving, and we just correspond with them and tell them what's happening and why this is happening. But they're the ones actually doing all the approving. But everything else, we do. We set them up with an appointment at the bank to go sign, because you have to go into Bank of America to sign a signature card to get your name on the account.
That's always fun.
Yeah. So at least we set them up. We give them an exact list of documents that they need. If it does have to be in person, which some things do like that, we tell them exactly what to do, what to bring. We set them up with the appointment so that they can just show up and be there. And, we set them up for success. And we make sure that we have a contact there so that, who they meet with knows what's happening, because that's a big problem. If they just go into the bank and they meet with any representative, there's no guarantee that representative knows how to get them onto the account. So
no, there's a guarantee they won't actually go to Bank of America.
No,
the right person will not be. They'll be at lunch, or they'll be at another branch, and you'll make an appointment, and then they'll come back a week later.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that you describe is something that I experience as well in the real estate side is where I meet somebody who's beginning. I call it stuck in the mud. Like they're all excited. I'm a business person. I know what I'm doing. I'm an attorney. I'm an accountant. I'm I'm an executive. And then it's about a month or two into it. They go, okay, you offered some help. You mentioned some sort of service. Can you help me here? And it's not necessarily that anything that you're doing is magic. It's just you've done certain things a number of times and know the procedure.
Right.
And so that's where I think the time comes in. Now, along the way, I know that when I went on your website, I saw a couple friendly names of people that I recognized as like really top of the line professionals. One being Michael Zwick, Heirs Research, and I know that we need that as in probate. We need that as part of the process. And also, I saw on there an attorney. I can't remember the name from Northern California. So I haven't worked with him personally, but I know he's. I talked to him on the phone. He's great. So tell me about your relationship with these partners and how you bring them into the team, or how do you support your customer with other people, beyond your company?
So it really all
Kern Sinch. I forget that name.
Yeah. So it really all started. So Alexandra, she thought of it because she was helping her friend with an estate, and I think was doing what we're talking about, right? Going around in circles.
Right.
The process is not easy. There is no tech in it. And she just thought there had to be a better solution. And this is her solution. And as that thought grew, she would reach out to her contacts and her professionals, and he was one of them. And then I think the contacts and the professionals just kept getting a little bit broader. So at first they reached out to, someone said, I think you need to talk to an estate planning attorney or a trust attorney. That trust attorney said, I think you need a fiduciary. That's where I came in. So I think I've been involved for a year and a half now. And it feels like the last 6 or 8 months have just gone super fast. And then I, we needed more fiduciaries. So I got Pablo involved, who's another fiduciary that I work with. And then we needed more attorneys involved, because then we're dealing with, estates in different states. So, and as you know, every state enjoys being different from the one right next door. So we started to get all these professionals involved based on what clientele we were getting. And just kind of started bringing on all these people. And a lot of it is word of mouth, which I think is great, like people we know. And so that's how I got involved, and that's how the majority of these professionals got involved.
What does the fee structure look like? Is that something you can discuss? What's that going to cost? Because by nature, the do-it-yourselfer thinks that any money they spend is money they've lost. And I was looking at the opposite. If I can delegate to you at a rate lower than my timeline, I've saved money, and that's how I build my business. What's the fee structure? How do you get paid, and what's it cost the customer?
I don't know if I can talk about that or not.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But what I will tell you is that, so it is a percentage. So no matter what, it's based on a percentage, and so we don't take the whole thing. There is a minimum. So sometimes we have had clients say, it's worth the minimum, because no matter what, even if there's such a low amount in the estate, it still has to be closed. Even if it's not worth it to the family, someone really does still have to do it.
Right.
And it's a burden. And that's why it's so important for family members to plan and to do this ahead of time. But the reality of it is people don't. People avoid talking about death. And even my dad, he passed away 12 years ago, but he kind of said the same thing to us. He's like, well, who does this benefit? This doesn't benefit me. And that's true, but that's why it's so important. And no matter what, it does have to get closed. And so some people do see the value of our fee because, time is money. And a lot of people do not have the time to do it themselves, and would rather pay us just to get it done.
Got it. I know you're on the website at the top right corner. It says talk to an expert, and we can go on there and book a call. At different times.
Yeah.
And so is that an initial consult that's free, or that initial consult costs money as well?
No, it does not. So they always, we always talk to somebody, get a little bit of information about the estate first. A lot of people do call, and I think there's a lot of confusion, and there are a lot of different professionals in this area. And so we do want to direct you to the right professional. Sometimes we're not the right one.
Right.
We do get a call and say, my sister took all the money from my mom's trust, and I need help. And so we say, we can't help you with that. You need an attorney.
Right.
But no matter what, this is such a sensitive time for everybody. There's just so much, unfortunately, contention within families, and then everyone's mourning. And so no matter what, no matter who we talk to, if we can't help them, which there are a lot of people that we cannot help, we at least try to point them in the right direction. So if there's a referral that we can give, if there's, just a little nugget of advice or a word of encouragement that we can give them on how to proceed, then we will do that. Because we do hear a lot, and we have experience, on a lot of scenarios. So we do try to do that. But so the call is really just to get more information about what this person needs. If they do have an estate that they are, likely the trustee or administrator of, we get a little bit of information about that. And then we go further with them, and we're happy to discuss our fees on that call too. And we can tell them exactly what we do and what we think about their estate and what we would do for them. And a little bit about the process there too. We don't charge anything for consultations. So we only charge after we've actually done quite a bit of work on the estate. So nothing ever comes out of the executor or the trustee's pocket.
Got it.
This is an estate or trust expense. And
Got
so
it.
it comes out of those funds only. And
But
so
theoretically, you're bringing value by, helping those funds be creative, whether it be selling a house or a car or collectibles, whatever. They all sound simple, but the process of getting them from an asset to cash oftentimes is challenging for people.
Right. Yeah. And it's even just the access,
Yeah.
Gaining access to the trust banking account
Yeah.
or checking account.
Yeah.
That sometimes proves to be more difficult. And, here someone is paying for the
Yep.
homeowner's insurance or the property taxes out of pocket because they can't gain access
Right.
to that checking account. So, and we don't expect them to do that for our fee either. So we do work up front, and we hope that shows people that we are, our service is legitimate and they value it even before they even pay us. So I think that
Geographically, what states do you work in, or are there any states that you don't work in?
we work in every state. I'm physically in California, and we've had quite a few estates in California. We've had some in New Hampshire, and I'm probably not the right person to talk about because I normally more hear about the families and the assets and then not where they are.
Got it.
A couple in New Hampshire.
But again, you're not an attorney with your licensed state. You're referring to attorneys who would be licensed in those states. So it's not like you'd be limited by state regulation.
Correct. And so, and we are not attorneys and we do not give legal advice. The attorneys that we have that work for Alix, they're for us. That's, if we need legal advice, then we get it. But Alix is really meant to be in lieu of an attorney because, you can always do this pro per, but it's hard. And so it's really meant to be in lieu of an attorney so that you don't have to pay attorney's fees.
And then last question, I could see your business being focused on getting business from consumers. You could advertise online or different ways. I could see your business being referrals from professionals in the space, financial planners, CPAs, attorneys. I could also see you being an adjunct to attorneys. So where's the focus of your marketing and where's the focus of people coming into you? Are they coming in as consumers? Are they coming in referred by, and I'm sure you get some of all, but what would you say is the focus so that you see the most connection from in your business?
Mostly from consumers. And I think what's really, I'm also not the right person to talk about who we're targeting. I'm more of the boots on the ground, what direction to go on how to administer the estate. I'm not good at marketing, but I do know where a lot of our leads come from, and it mostly is funeral homes and consumers, and that's kind of been the market. I personally say attorneys are a really good referral because of the fact that they don't know how to do these things, and a lot of times their client is like, help.
Yes.
And they can't really.
Yes.
They don't know what to say. And so I think attorneys are a really good referral. Because it doesn't necessarily have to take away from their job, but it can. So
right.
It kind of depends on when the client can come to us.
Right.
And some clients prefer to have an attorney there also, which is great. And that's fine. So it's a lot direct from the consumers. And I think a lot of it has to do with them trying so hard and spinning their wheels and just being so frustrated and fed up. And then ultimately they come to a search and how can they get help? And then that's where Alix comes up. So I think that's what it's coming to. Really we are the solution for just a regular family member. And anybody can really be a referral for us if they hear a family member who's going through this complain or stress about how much work and effort and it is and how much time they don't have to do it. And so that's, it could be a realtor, it could be a financial advisor. Financial advisors especially, depending on, again, what type of estate or trust it is and who's involved. Financial advisors want it to be a person. They don't want it to they don't want the trustee to be a corporate bank.
Right.
So it's in their favor to have it be a person. And so they often, want to keep it in the family, have it be a kid or so that it stays with them. And I think that's beneficial for all. I think,
Yes.
and so, so I think it's a really good referral for financial advisors, because that's what we would recommend is stay with your financial advisor. We help you work simultaneously with them. So yeah, there are so many angles.
Yeah.
Because we're an assistant to the person that's supposed to be doing all of this work.
Well, Karen, as I said, I came to you kind of through a couple partners that I've worked with, and they speak really highly of you. I'm really excited to get a chance to share what you do with my platform. And so for people interested, today our guest is Karen Stiles. She's a CPA, a fiduciary, and she's also with Alix, which is meetalix.com, meetalix.com. We'll have the link in the description down below. Thank you so much for your time today. Look forward to continuing to learn more as we go along.
Yeah, thank you for having me.